G'day, Ben from Melbourne here. Today I'm going to attempt to cram a whole stack of tags, threads and competitions past which I missed out on doing, which were all happening when I was overseas in lovely Japan land for 4 weeks. And even though I'm not eligible for the competitions or the tags might be a bit old, I quite liked some of the ideas, so I thought I would jump on board and cram them all in one video. Is that all right? Yeah. So, for a change, after a blip, a tear in the universe, if you will, of all that Japanese music, and then Sam St. John had to make me do music that you may be surprised I listen to, which I could just do that every week with just like one non-Australian record. I get the feeling some people think that's all I listen to. Anyway, let's get into this because I don't want it to be mega long. Might be a little bit long. But first up was a competition I missed out on, but I wanted to do it because I like it and I like the guy. It was the Holy Trinity Challenge by Steve from All the World's a Stage. The man with a superior hairstyle. The hairstyle that the gods who walk the earth sport. The men with more testosterone than other men. The more attractive men. The men who mean it. And we also have a sensitive side. Got a little bit sidetracked there, sorry. So this competition, which doesn't exist anymore, the rules were to show 3 records by one band or artist in a row that you thought were like bangers, and you couldn't have greatest hits in between or a live record or anything. It was actually a lot harder than you think. But I think I found 3. So I'm going to start with Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. Yeah, the other end of his career. This is Push the Sky Away, which was the start of a whole new period for Nick Cave, and I think each of these new ones, I'm behind the 8 ball. I'm still catching up to where he's at, and then of course I go see that tour and then the penny drops and I'm like, this is brilliant. So it's a lot more sparse. He changed his songwriting style completely. Used to be narrative driven songs with definite stories and characters, and piano driven with the big full Bad Seeds band of yore, which was amazing in itself. But these are a lot more sparse, sort of in some cases soundscapey, non-linear lyrics, a whole new approach. Warren Ellis has come to the fore as Nick's right hand man. Brilliant, beautiful records. So Push the Sky, and then that was followed, after a absolute tragedy. Nick lost one of his twin boys. He died in a horrible accident, which I won't go into, which I'm sure you can look up, and somehow bounced back with the amazing Skeleton Tree. It's very reflective, that record. Again, similar territory. This is even more sparse, but it's also very raw because he was just coming out of, untold amounts of grief, as you would. Although some of the songs are written before the horrific accident, you can just hear it in his voice. And there's also the great track Distant Sky, which features a Danish soprano, which escapes in my mind right now, but amazing record. And then the last Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds credited album to date, Ghosteen, which this is a bit of a masterpiece in my opinion. Double album, again sparse, but like within, I'm using the word sparse a lot, but within that, these 3 albums are quite distinct from each other. Like the highlight of this is the Sidelong Hollywood for me, last track. Everything on this is great. He featured this album, and the album just credited to him and Warren Ellis called Carnage on last year's tour. Incredible stuff.
My galleon ship will fly and fall and fly and fall deep into your loveliness. And if we rise, my love, before the daylight comes, 1,000 galleon ships will sail ghostly round the morning sun.
Righto. Next 3. The Giz. And that's right, we're picking from 2017, the year when they released not 3 but 5 records. But I'm going to go with the last 3, because the last 3 I think were a little bit underappreciated, or maybe by the time they come out with the 5th one, people were kind of like, whoa, too much. But this was where they changed tack, like the, what were they? 7-headed rock monster, which they pumped out Murder of the Universe and the Microtonal album earlier in the year, High Energy Affairs, and then this collaboration with Mild High Club called Sketches of Brunswick East, which is a reference to Miles Davis' Sketches of Spain, just in the title. And it is quite jazzy, but in a Giz way. So you gotta love that. Great record, great songs. Yeah, if you love the Giz, you're gonna love it. And then the follow-up to that, Polygon Wonderland. Probably one of the best Australian hard rock prog records out there. Amazing record if you like your prog and you like it with a bit more. This is the shiznit. And to finish off the year, Gumboot Suit would be the correct way to say the title. This was apparently odds and ends, but it's incredibly cohesive. It's, it's got a bit of everything if you like the 4 previous albums of that year. It's a killer record all the same. It holds together well, like the song Muddy Water, Greenhouse, Heat Death, yeah, The Last Oasis, I'm Sleeping In. Great stuff. 3 killers in a row. Like, I could just about pick out 3 from any period, but I thought I'd go to them. Now we're going to step back in time to the early 80s with a legendary Australian band called the Triffids with their masterpiece, Born Sandy Devotional, like a love letter to Australia while they were recording this in England and homesick and having money troubles and no success, which is sadly the story of most Australian bands where they try and make it back in the mother country. But this is absolutely brilliant. Probably best known song on this would be Wide Open Road, but yes, songs like Stolen Property, Estuary Bed, Chicken Killer. This is a beautiful record. If you like sort of dark, epic, majestic music, a la, Nick Cave comes to mind because also David McCoon's got that baritone voice, but it's a bit more melodic. I wouldn't say commercial as such, but like you could possibly, imagine hearing this more on the radio than Nick Cave of a similar period. And this was followed by an amazing record, but I still don't think they actually trumped Born Sandy Devotional, but it was in the Pines, and they changed tack completely where they, I think it was in Western Australia, which is where they're from. They recorded all of this in a sheep shearing shed. And, you know, they just wanted that rural sound to influence them, and nothing too fancy. But again, you can't escape like Robert McCoon. It's just a beautiful songwriter with majestic songs, as I said. And then the third one, Kalencha, amazing album as well. Bury Me Deep in Love, probably the best known track off this. Yeah, that's 3 absolute killers by 3 absolute killer bands. So, let's get into the next bit. And a little while ago, Rob Walker, he of much hair, did a tag for his top 10 British bands. And I'm going to cheat, because that's what I do. Because, technically, all of us white Australians are either convicts or invaders, or both, to Australia. So we're technically English, and we're still part of the Commonwealth. So, in my book, these are all Australian bands, and if Vinyl Richie can pull that bullshit he did on his top 10 video of British bands, I can do this. So, of course, the Saints, Ed Cooper, Chris Bailey, punk rock before everybody else, except maybe the Ramones. Awesome. Radio Birdman, amazing Detroit, like MC5 Stooges, infected punk rock genius. Of course, The Birthday Party, which gives me an excuse to get Nick Cave, Mick Harvey, and the great Roland S. Howard all in one whack. Amazing art punk band from Melbourne, which can do no wrong in my eyes. The band that could probably be said that invented grunge, but were better than any of the grunge bands, and that's Kim Salmon's band, The Scientists. Amazing band, The Scientists. If you don't know them, check out Atom Bomb Baby. Actually, I think there was a numero compilation release, which should be able to get anywhere. Awesome band. And basically the rhythm section of The Scientists and Kim Salmon made up this era of the B Suburban. That's right, collaborating with Sexy Tex Perkins and Spencer P. Jones, one of the other great unsung guitarists of Australia, alongside Roland S. Howard. Great band, number of different lineups, always amazing live, great records too. Moving into the 90s, the Thunder from Geelong, Magic Dirt, fronted by the great Adelita. There's a slew of great punk influence, rock and roll, I guess you call them. These guys, you know, went the extra mile with the fuzz pedals and the like. Great band. Recently reformed. Sadly, Dean Turner, the bass player and, you know, the heart behind that band, passed away a number of years ago. But apparently sounding great still, and Adelita's released 3 now. Fantastic solo records. Quite different from Magic Dirt, but really good. My favourite, this sums up indie rock in Melbourne in the 90s for me, and that's the great Sandpit. You know, one of those bands, I guess you could call them a bit mathy rock, with their weird guitar tunings and the great Jag guitars, Fenders that they'd use. Strange, strong, really hard to speak. Strange song structures, but kind of sneakily strange. They sneak up on you because they're quite catchy in their way. Amazing, awesome band. And then into the 2000s, Black Cab. You've heard me talk about this Melbourne band a lot. Amazing. I'm trying to cover like the not obvious bands, you probably realise, because that's why there's no Easy Beats and AC/DC and all that sort of stuff. There's a few undeniables that I got to put in, like the Saints. But these bands have become classics to me, in the last 10, 15 years. So just because they're new doesn't mean they're not as awesome as the old shit. Anyway, this band started off almost as like a big ensemble kind of band playing this. Not really stoner, but like this dark kind of thing, much more intelligent. Not that I don't like that stuff, but there's no worship of weed with these guys. And they sort of morphed into this amazing electronic band. Always do concept records. Got 4, maybe 5 out now, all worth your while. Amazing band. Then, of course, I cannot do my favourite Australian bands without Eddie Current Suppression Ring, featuring the mighty Mikey Young on guitar. They were the kick in the ass that the Melbourne punk rock scene needed in the mid-2000s, and they released 3 records at the time, come back about 10 years later, release another one, all absolute crackers. Mikey Young, anything he does is worth checking out. Yeah. What else can I say? Love the man, and you should know if you watch his channel. And of course, rounding it off with the Giz. You can't not put the Giz in. Amazing, just all over it. Release their own records on their own label, pump them out at a rate of knots. Like, they're up to like well over 20 now, and that's not counting live stuff at 7 inches, EPs. Play a ton of live shows a year, play 3-hour shows. They do no repeat shows. Unbelievably tight band. Do what they want, do whatever they're feeling style wise, and it all comes out like the Giz. Alright, I know it was supposed to be British, so if push comes to shove, a legit best British band ever in the history of the world, according to me, and probably no one else, because there's those, bands that start with B and start with R and start with K and start with L and start with B again and start with D and P. But to me, it's Joy Division. To me, there's a before Joy Division and an after Joy Division of the way music sounded. And you could probably argue Public Image Limited are in this conversation too. But this is just such a self-contained, unlike anything before or after it. And I think this will go down in 100 years, probably like this is the greatest record ever. Don't even know who the Beatles are. Did I say that on the VC? God, I might have to edit that out. I apologise. Please don't take my VC membership away from me. I'm sorry. This is the shit. All right. This is moving along quite well, I think, for how many things I'm trying to do. Now, next one is Too Late to the Party. Gimme 5 for the vinyl Minimalist. Struggling with my words today. By Sean, who, as far as I can tell, I can't find a link to his channel anymore. But there is a link because he wants to sell a heap of Discog shit, which was why he's done this. So here's 5 7 inches with a link. Let's see if you can pick what it is. Trilobites. Johnny Wake on the mighty. Sorry, Jenny's Wake on the mighty Waterfront label. At First Sight by the Stems. Sacred Cowboys, Trouble from Providence on the Great Citadel label. The New Christ, Heading South on Citadel as well. And lastly on Waterfront, the Hard-Ons with Girl in the Sweater. She's not actually wearing a sweater. She's not wearing much at all. What's the link? That's right. They're all incredibly shit covers. Great music. Shit covers. Like, what's that crap? A Blue Eye? I don't even know what that is. Yeah, we'll have a black and white photo of a dirty sink. And yeah, what if we have a nude girl and stab her in the vajayjay with a guitar? Not nice. As I said, great music, shit covers. Right, whew. Let's get into the last one. So this is the flip side, Josh's channel, who's been doing Lost 90s Classics tag. And I'm going to run through these. No, I'm not. I'm going to do it in another video. I'm going to add one for MGK Boston because he's currently doing a tag. So this is an up-to-date one, but no one will probably see this because you won't last to the end. And I've got one, and it is... Oh, drum roll, because it's really hard to get this out. Spiderbait, Australian, Melbourne band. And of course, what's MGK Boston's tag? Run. And there's their cover of Run by the Goodies. That's right. On your MGK. I'll see you in like the flip side one in a second. I might change shirts because I do have shirt fans out there. Because otherwise this will be fucking long again. It already is. Peace.
Do you know what to do? Come on, let me answer you. I'm gonna teach you to the answers. I'll down the baby. I'm gonna get you in the room. I'm gonna get what you want. Run, run, run. I'm gonna get you. Run, run, run. I'm running all around this room. I'm going to let you go. Gonna teach you to the entrance room. Hang around the baby. Gonna get you in the end. I'm gonna let you go now. Run, run, run. Gonna get you. Run, run, run. I'm running. What you want to